If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
just
there.
Go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean, Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that
The morning the scandal hit felt just like any other. Coffee in hand, scrolling through the usual headlines, until one name caught my eye. Sunny Hostin. But this wasn't about her fiery opinions on The View. No, this time, it was about her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin. And let me tell you, the headlines were anything but flattering. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, and his practice, Host Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, were suddenly thrust into a massive controversy. The accusations, insurance fraud, kickbacks, and, brace yourself, a massive RICO lawsuit with a jaw-dropping 180 defendants. This isn't just another case, it's a legal blockbuster. But before we dive into the chaos, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss a single twist in this Hollywood-worthy scandal. Now, let's break it all down, legal jargon included.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
The RICO Act, which was originally designed to fight organized crime like mobsters and gangsters, is now being used against doctors, surgeons, and medical practices. Instead of a mafia drama, this case feels more like a medical fraud thriller. The lawsuit claims that Dr. Hostin and others were involved in a scheme to exploit the healthcare system by getting kickbacks for unnecessary surgeries and billing insurance companies for procedures that might not have even taken place. It's a situation where patients undergo surgery, insurance covers the costs, and money is exchanged like a high-stakes game at the hospital.
A citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this?
Here's where things get interesting. The lawsuit specifically points to Dr. Hostin and others for allegedly getting paid to recommend or perform arthroscopic surgeries, those minimally invasive joint procedures that seem harmless at first. But the lawsuit claims some of these surgeries were completely unnecessary. Were these patients really in need of knee or shoulder surgeries, or was it all just about making money? If the allegations are true, this could be one of the biggest betrayals, making soap opera scandals look like child's play. Imagine trusting your doctor, only to find out you were just part of a money-making scheme. That's a betrayal that hurts, literally.
The people that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said, this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange.
Here's the twist. On the other side of the case is American Transit Insurance Company, which claims it's been swindled out of millions. They allege they were billed for surgeries that either never happened or weren't needed, kind of like paying for a steak and getting tofu instead. But let's be honest, insurance companies aren't exactly innocent in all this either. They've been accused of underpaying doctors, denying claims, and finding every loophole to avoid paying. So, the big question is Adam really trying to uncover a massive healthcare scam, or is this just a desperate attempt by a company on the brink of bankruptcy to point fingers?
To a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influenced and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber.
Dr. Host's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, didn't hold back. He slammed the lawsuit as a desperate, meritless attempt by addicts to recover their losses, calling it a last-ditch effort from a company on the brink of financial ruin. His defense turned the tables, casting the addicts as the real culprits. Classic courtrooms.
Necessarily for her to
view.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting this way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
yeah.
it is a rape.
To kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Strategy. When you're on the defensive, you go on the offensive. And trust me, that kept the drama in the courtroom heating up. But wait, there's more. Enter Joe Rogan, podcast king and media critic who didn't hold back either. He called out The View for what he saw as pure hypocrisy, throwing shade at Sunny Hostin for slandering others while possibly knowing about her husband's shady dealings. Rogan went full throttle, roasting the show as a whole, even joking that if you averaged out the IQ of The View hosts, you might still have trouble hitting triple digits.
Federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay, now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Thwaites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974.
Harsh. Maybe. But Rogan's fans were loving it. While Dr. Holton is battling for his reputation in court, his wife Sunny has been suspiciously quiet. Normally, she's the one jumping into controversy on The View, but when it comes to her husband's scandal, it's crickets. Why the silence? Is she sticking by him, trying to distance herself, or just waiting for her lawyers to tell her what to say? Fans are buzzing with theories. Some think she's protecting her image. Others suspect she's staying quiet to avoid becoming the next target. Either way, her silence is speaking volumes. And here's the kicker. Dr. Holton isn't the only one in hot water. He's one of 180 defendants in this lawsuit, which includes other doctors, medical practices, and even hospitals. If the allegations hold up, this could become one of the largest medical fraud cases in recent memory.